Welcome back to the Customer Success Festival. Before we get going with the next helping of inspiring content, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping us bring this event to your screens. And don't forget, you can access even more content to elevate your CS knowledge by becoming a CSC member. Simply head on over to our website to find out more. Now sit back and enjoy the next session. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Customer Success Festival. So today we're joined by Palak, who is actually the CEO and founder of Iris Agents, and she's got a really great topic to be discussing today. But before we get going, I'd like to ask everyone tuning in today to let us know where you're joining in from, and also we'll be hosting a live Q&A at the end of the session. So make sure to post your questions in the chat box and then we'll spend some time answering your question. So without further ado, I hand you over to Palak, our presenter for today.
Thanks. Thanks, Alex, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Looks like we have folks from all over the country and some other countries as well. I see Canada. It's pretty cool. Well, great to meet you all. Appreciate your time. I would love to talk to you more about our initiatives in the customer support and customer success space and how we can increase renewals. So, without further ado, let me just jump in. All right. I'm Palak Dalal Bhatia. I am the founder and CEO of Iris Agent. Today, I will be talking about how to increase renewals and prevent at-risk accounts by using proactive AI-powered support automation. This is a talk which will be at the intersection of customer success and support and product management and engineering. So, bringing all the siloed functions together for the service of customers. Before we start, a little bit about me. I have worn multiple hats in my career so far. I worked as an engineer at Google and Microsoft and also transitioned into product management. I also was an investor in the venture capital industry where I saw companies being built from an idea stage to building meaningful businesses. Now I'm building Iris Agent as an entrepreneur. I'm the chief customer success manager for the company, working very closely with customers across multiple platforms. Here at Iris Agent, we are the AI-powered customer support operations platform. All right. So before we even go into how does support ops helps, what is support ops automation? You might ask. It is a philosophy and a business strategy. It is and in technology that is at the core of it, and it automates business processes, rules, workflows that are designed to bridge this gap between frontline customer-facing functions and back-end technology functions. It delivers actionable insights about issues which are impacting customers bringing those issues and actionable insights to service, support, and customer success teams. And the end goal here is how do we deliver timely and accurate action items and resolutions for customers, as well as how do we enable reporting and analytics, which gives different stakeholders visibility into the top issues that are impacting customers. It gives a paradigm about how to prioritize different issues and what steps to take, how to look into the backlog and understand what issues are impacting most customers in a timely manner before the issue escalates to a larger problem. What are some of the problems with support ops today? It is pretty reactive and it is siloed. Organizations are getting more and more complex. To give an example, if customer in today's software-oriented world faces a product issue, they reactively log a ticket. That ticket might escalate to customer support and success. Even though there is an engineering team which is using all the fancy tools and technology, is working on that exact same problem and they have isolated the issue, often there's a silo between the customer success and the engineering team. The customer success and support teams might not know about that issue. They might not have access to the amazing DevOps tools and technologies that are available at organizations dispense today. As a result, there would be a lot of manual back and forth. There would be Slack communications, ticket being transferred from one platform to the other, all the while the customer is waiting to find an answer to a problem that they expect the people interfacing with them to know about. There's also a lot of effort which is needed from the customer's end to understand the problem and see how, the issues that they're having. They expect people to know about the problems that they are talking about, as opposed to them having to share screenshots and updates and different messages to actually convey what is going on. So this is why support ops automation is a must-have. In today's world, customers demand immediate resolution. The world is also moving towards product-led growth (PLG). In PLG mode, there's a lot of bottoms-up adoption. So first of all, the business scales at an exponential rate. There are more and more support tickets coming in, more customers to onboard, more onboarding to be done. You need to ensure that customers are actually meeting the milestones that you have for the product, and they can basically self-help themselves as they're trying to derive value from your products. The second thing which makes it even more complex is engineering and DevOps are using amazing technologies and tools like Kubernetes and containers, which are ensuring that products are being launched to production. New releases are being launched, if not at a weekly or monthly level, but even at a daily level. So there are new features which are being launched to customers, and often the customer facing teams, be it support, customer success, account managers, they're unaware of those latest updates and releases. Customers ask them questions about it, but those teams might not have full visibility about what's going on internally in their organization. This also brings to the topic of the time to value. As we're launching these features, customers do expect that these features get communicated with customers. They want to know about what's the latest, how they can derive more value from their products. And then lastly, modern SaaS businesses have their own complexity. There are amazing tools and technologies available, but all of them are solving a point solution. So success might have point tools that they're working within. They have their own data silo. Support might be working in their own silo of tools and technologies. Product might be working in their own tools and technologies. All of those tools are amazing at doing at doing the job that they're assigned to be doing, but they don't talk well with each other. If there is an anomaly or an alert in one system, other functions might not know about it. All of it makes it very complex to manage demands of customers in today's scale, as well as at the pace at which things are progressing. Another set of challenges that come in without support automation, especially when we are talking about delivering and helping customers, one is it's hard to scale. In the PLG world where the business scales, new customers are signing up with very minimal effort. As new issues come up, support and success teams don't have the full tools and technologies available to actually scale with them. Secondly, there are silos in the organization, as we talked about. If there is a bug which engineering is working on, support and success might not know about it. They might not know that the customer that they're actually talking with is impacted by the exact same bug. They might not know what's the ETA, when is it getting launched, and vice versa. There's a lot of valuable feedback in support and success conversations with customers about what's working well, what's not working well. Even the way in which customers talk about their issues, the language that they use, they might be conveying important information. Are they looking at competitors' tools? Are they having issues with their own customers in production because of this subscription, and so on? Such important feedback does not get incorporated into the product roadmap. This might lead into improper customer onboarding. So, without full information about customer pain points across their journey, the onboarding suffers. And if customers are not getting the full value, this might result in churn as well. And finally, lots of manual processes. Often, support teams might be tagging tickets manually, prioritizing them, answering common repetitive questions that come in. AI has advanced quite a bit to automate a lot of these activities so that teams are freed up to work on real complex issues. All right. Cool. So let's get into the solution. So what is support ops automation? What are the main components of it? So first of all, the one main component of the support ops solution is the voice of the customer. Customer is at the center of the solution. So it's important to know what issues they're having, not just what they're talking about, but also what are the issues that they're having on the back end side of things, what bugs are impacting them, how are they using the product, are there areas in their product journey that they're struggling with. How can we surface all of this information in a pretty efficient manner so that the right teams have the right knowledge? The second component of it is using automation and possibly AI to do automated root cause discovery and issue discovery. Building those correlations between the data in siloed platforms that we talked about, understanding information in a CRM about a customer, about their journey that they are on, as well as correlating that with the support conversations that they're opening, as well as the customer success onboarding conversations they're having with the internal and backend teams about bugs that are being tracked in platforms like Jira, as well as product analytics tools in platforms like Pendo and Amplitude and others. So bringing all of this together to actually pinpoint and find the root cause of what is impacting customers the most and why, and what steps should be taken to remediate that. The third component of that is how do we help the CSMs and the agents who are assisting the customers? How do we use AI to sometimes even automatically respond to them? For some of the simple repetitive questions or questions which multiple customers are asking about the same issue, can we use AI and pattern recognition to deliver responses without needing a lot of human intervention or time spent by the agents on those customers' accounts? And then finally, customers expect real-time responses. Solution organizations internally need to have a platform where they can get real-time alerts and analytics about top issues which are impacting customers, be alerted when there is a solution, when there is an issue which is building up, an incident which is building up, which has a potential to impact multiple customers unless someone intervenes and tries to solve that problem. Yeah, so that's in nutshell the four main solutions of the support ops automation platform. How do we get started? All of this sounds pretty good theoretically, but it takes a lot of time for an organization to be ready for it, deliver it, and finally deliver value to customers. We published a white paper on this as well, as to what are the five or three main components which are involved in being prepared to adopt a technology such as this. The first component of it is you need to first assess how ready is the organization for a solution like this. Many of these initiatives begin at the top level. Is your CXO, your executive C-suite, prioritizing this as a top priority? Because often initiatives that involve multiple functions in an organization, it's always better to have a sponsor at the highest level who is proposing and who's helping and supporting this initiative. So the best way to do that would be, to have an honest conversation with somebody in the leadership and understand what are the top priorities that they have and how we can help prioritize that internally in the team and cross functionally as well. The second thing is about establishing processes. So, do the different functions in the organization have the right processes in place to communicate information? Are they meeting bi-weekly, monthly? Are they sharing important blockers, wins and losses across different functions? Different companies have different modes of putting this in practice. With real-time communication tools like Slack and others, this has become better and easier, but it also creates more noise in the organization. We need processes which are efficient and streamlined, with clear action items, as opposed to going to it's difficult for somebody to go into the depth about a cross-functional team. You need to be able to understand what the top priorities and blockers are and see what are those integration points in technology. Often platforms have APIs. It's a very similar analogy where different teams need to have a certain level of communication with other teams where they're sharing key components of their work, which is around what are their blockers, what information do I need to send out to my peers, which is important for them to deliver on what they're doing together for the service of customers. And finally, delivering technology. So often the systems that different functions are using, they do not have integrations with each other. Without those integrations, the processes and the organizational and people readiness would have a lot of inefficiencies in them. With good technology, you're ensuring that data is flowing from one end to the other, and not just the data flowing, but also being able to identify when something needs immediate attention and when something is just need to know. So ensuring those data touch points as well as flow of data between different platforms, and then finally alerting as well. So identifying anomalies in those systems, identifying action items as opposed to just more data and more noise to look at, and identifying those action items, and then establishing processes and playbooks that need to be taken. To give an example, if there is an incident that is triggering in your pager duty on the back end side of things, there needs to be a playbook in the organization which lays out all the steps that need to be taken by different functions. The playbook could include things like identifying who the stakeholders are of those incidents, preferably automatically. Secondly, identifying who are the customers who are impacted by those. Thirdly, would be what will be the resolution step. And then, most importantly, what is the touch point with customers? Once you have established who are the customers who are being impacted by that issue, we need to ensure that those customers are being communicated about that incident at different stages of that incident. Sometimes that incident might originate because a customer actually reported an issue. Sometimes that incident might be discovered because an alert fired in your backend systems. Whatever be the source of that incident, it's important to establish that playbook, which can ensure that customers are being taken care of, their SLAs are being met, they're being communicated transparently about different issues that are going on in the system, and what they can expect as a solution and a resolution, and in what time frame. There are different stakeholders involved in that simple process of an incident management, from customer success, support, product, and DevOps. And because of all of this, I go back to the initial point. It's important to have a prioritization for this effort from the leadership level in establishing those playbooks and tools and technologies needed to deliver this successfully. Cool. One other component that goes into managing renewals and identifying at-risk account is having a full view of those customers across the different siloed platforms that we talked about. What are the important things to know about the health of a customer? There are different things. So the first thing that comes to mind is, first of all, the customer is using a product ultimately, right? Companies are often selling a product or service. We want to know how happy is the customer in their usage of that product. Are they actually getting the value that they were promised at the time of sale or purchase? Thankfully, we have amazing tools and technologies which are telling us exactly that how engaged is the customer with the product, who are the main users in their organization that are actually using the product, as well as other signals. So the second signal is what communications are they having on their support and success platforms? Are they opening a lot of support cases? Are many of those support cases escalating to engineering because they're encountering bugs or performance issues? Thirdly is, what is their sentiment? Ultimately, a lot of things boil down to how is the customer feeling about your product, right? And it's hard to gauge the sentiment just by talking to them. Of course, we need the qualitative signals that are coming in from customer conversations, proactive outreach, but also what is something that they're not sharing, what is something that we can read between the lines based on the sentiment that they're sharing from the language that they're using. If they use words like ASAP and urgent, or talking about competitors' product, that means even though they might be saying that things are okay, they might still be considering other options. And then finally, what is the business impact of that customer? What is their annual contract value? When are they up for renewal? Who are the different? Are they thinking about upgrading or downgrading their licenses based on the growth or decline in the licenses that they're having? So all of these signals are important to finally assess the health of the customer. Today, CSM teams have to go through different platforms. Sometimes they don't even have access to those platforms because of the processes in the system, in the organization. So it's important to have one single view where you can see the health of the customer, see all the important information about the customer, takeaways from the previous meetings, action items, so that when you're meeting the customer next, you have all those information at your fingertips. You can empathize better with the customers. And then finally, there's also need for a dashboard where you can know who are the customers who really need your attention. In today's PLG world where the customer base is growing, it's important to prioritize ultimately. So you need to understand which customers are struggling the most, where you need to spend most of your time on what topics, who internally in the organization has the most power to actually address that issue. If there is a bug or a feature request that they had asked for, could you just directly talk to that person, understand what is the priority of that issue, and then communicate that transparently with customers. Yeah, so we talked about some of these key use cases, so understanding the voice of the customer, understanding their risk, ensuring that you're renewing accounts by getting the most information about their pain points, automating workflows, creating bidirectional workflows between different siloed functions in the organization. So if a customer's health score drops, we need to alert all the agents who are working on the cases opened by that particular customer. We want to alert all the product managers who are working on feature requests that customer actually requested for. So creating all these workflows and data pipeline is important to finally help the customer. Correlations, this is a lot of information for the human to process, which is coming from all these siloed platforms. Can AI actually build machine learning models where we can surface important correlations so that your teams can focus on the most important items? And then integrations are important. You need to have integrations between your support, bug tracking, CRM, analytics, incident management, and knowledge based platforms. These tools need to talk to each other. You need to have workflows where important alerts in any particular tool are being communicated to the functions in different organizations. All right. So this is what visually it looks like. We have a support app ops platform, which can basically plug holes between these platforms, can create workflows, ensure that customers are getting their resolutions in an instantaneous fashion. The CSMs and support reps, they are getting actionable insights about the backlogs and issues that they are working on. And then finally, bringing analytics and insights to the leadership and management about what are the top issues, how much business is at stake because of different issues that the teams are working on. How do we get started? So first of all, you need to establish what is the value of going down this path before even you start on this journey. We have an ROI calculator where you can input things like how many customers you have, how many support tickets you have, how many bugs and escalations are you seeing. And based on some of those metrics, which are highly personalized to you, you could estimate what could be an ROI of an AI powered support ops platform. And then make a decision from a business perspective that do you have a business case to go down this path. And if the decision after that ROI calculator is yes, then it's about assessing the maturity as well as the readiness of your organization on different dimensions. Ultimately, it's about three things: people, processes, and technology. Assessing the readiness of the organization where we stand today, and then and understanding what steps need to be taken to reach to the North Star. I am available anytime. Please feel free to reach out to me, book a meeting with me to dive deeper into some of these topics. And I'll just end with some of these key takeaways. So, first, support ops automation is pretty critical, especially for the scaling organization, becomes even more important in a PLG world. And then, thirdly, in today's economic climate, churn has become a very important thing. It's very important to retain our existing customers, hopefully renew those customers. More revenue today is coming from customer renewals and upsells than actually new account acquisition because of budget freezes and constraints that are going on in the economic climate, unfortunately, today. Secondly, establishing support ops automation as a strategic priority at the leadership level and assessing the organizational readiness and the steps that would be needed to reach to the North Star. And then using a support ops platform like Iris Agent, which can automate the data flow between these different platforms, help you understand the voice of the customer, pinpoint the issues that need escalation and immediate resolution. And then thinking about the use cases, understanding which use cases are important for you, and prioritizing those as we scale the business. Yeah, so that's a quick presentation that I wanted to give. Happy to take any Q&A, and you can always reach out to me at palak@irisagent.com. Thank you. Cool.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Palak. We've got some time here for some questions now. So question here, what have you seen the top themes for customers not wanting to renew?
Yeah, that's a great question. In today's economic climate, the top level reason that the customers might share is we have budget constraint or we are freezing our budgets. But if you do drill down into that answer, you would find a lot of patterns about that customer's behavior. Were they actually using the top 20% features that you had promised to those customers? What was the adoption and engagement level on those features? Who in the organization was the power user, and did their engagement fall or drop? Second thing is, often in today's fast moving world, engineering is pushing out a lot of updates and releases, but there are often bugs and performance issues. Any escalation or engineering issue that they might run into ends up hurting their experience with the product. It ends up eroding the trust they have in the company. It makes them think that would the product be of lower quality. So it's important to be on top of those bugs. Of course, I'm sure engineering teams are doing the best that they can in doing QA, quality assurance, and testing. But customer facing teams also need to be on top of those, ensure a healthy communication between those functions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Another question here from Bridie McWilliams. How do you win a customer back over if they're looking like they might not renew due to the lack of personalization on your CSM's end?
Yeah, I think customers really appreciate honesty. So first of all, it's important to acknowledge that the issues that they had in the past. It's important to be transparent about what steps that you might have taken to remediate those issues and ensure that those issues don't happen in the future. And it's also good to involve them in your journey as well. You could, tell them about the initiatives that you are taking around organizational readiness and adoption of proactive technologies. Customers are also learning a lot about new technology, so they would appreciate being in the loop on those processes. And then often case studies also go a long way. So if you have seen a reversal of customer sentiment with other accounts, it's important to share those, have them talk to those references. Yeah, so I think if a customer is unhappy, it's important to rally the entire team and the organization around that customer. And like every organization, everyone would have some political bureaucracy and hierarchies among them, just like we might ourselves have in our companies. So it's important to identify who are those sponsors, decision makers, champions in those organizations. What are their personal priorities as they think about growing in their career, and aligning the value that we deliver with those priorities.
Really great answer. Hopefully that answered your question, Bridie. Another question here. I work in a CS team for a high growth SaaS startup, and we're currently recruiting for additional AMs and CSMs. My question is, when would you recommend starting to think about automating your renewals processes?
Yeah, that's a great question. It depends a lot on your organization and what's involved in it. I think it's always better to start early. Even if you're not using the technology by the entirety of your organization, often changes are hard to make in an organization. If you're in the process of just starting a team or growing the team, it's always best to start incorporating the technology early on. And today, most SaaS subscriptions like ours are based on a usage model. So you don't have to pay for the entire team. You can start with one or two users in the organization, try it out, experiment how it works out, and then grow into the organization, just like we are selling products into our customers' organization on a usage basis. And it's a journey, right? So it's always good to pilot and try out these things and see how it helps before going full-fledged into it.
Definitely some valuable points there. Thank you again so much, Palak. That brings us to the end of the session, but it's a really great session. Hopefully our audience enjoyed that too. If you've got any more questions, feel free to connect with Palak on LinkedIn. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to connect with you guys. And also feel free to check out our Slack community as well and continue the discussion over there. But hopefully we'll see everyone in the next session. And thank you again, Palak.
Thanks a lot. Great to be here. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.